right, we're live.
Hi there. Welcome to Peppers and Flowers, where sales and marketing doesn't make sense. Please join us for the conversation.
Okay, so it's been like almost a month since we've done another episode. It's been a long time, I feel like.
Absolutely. Yeah, you kind of get into the swing of things, and all of a sudden, sometimes life issues come up and you kind of take a breather. But it doesn't change anything. We're still committed to this, and there's people out there listening, and I think we can still help a few people today. What do you think?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Exactly. It's crazy how like it becomes such part of our schedule, consistency, and then all of a sudden like something big happens and we just like get pulled in every direction. And then like a month goes by and we're sitting there thinking, wow, we haven't done that for like 4 weeks. We should probably get back into this.
Right, absolutely.
It was like a whirlwind. But anyways, it's great to be back and continuing the conversation of just peppers and flowers, conversing and chatting. So I'm excited to be here and getting it rolling again.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, it's all good. I think today I was hoping we could talk about something unique. I know that in sales, advertising, and marketing, there's a lot of language that goes out there. There's a lot of hard work and effort. And for me, a lot of times, especially in the sales role, there's issues with integrity, and that's like, am I doing the right thing out there in the field? Am I saying the right, words? Being the right kind of person, making the right kind of choices. You live in a day where there's choices made every day, and you always wonder, am I making the right choices? And so I thought today we talk about integrity in sales or marketing and integrity, things like that, doing things with integrity in mind, and kind of go from there. What do you think?
Let's do it. That actually applies a lot to marketing strategies as well. So we'll jump into that too. No, great topic idea.
Awesome. Well, I just got a story to start off with. When I was selling T-Mobile wireless back in the day when that whole company just made it to the West Coast in California. It was early in there, kind of like starting off here in the West Coast, and they had all these promotions. They had, back then it wasn't unlimited minutes, but they had like 3,000 minutes for $39 a month or whatever it was, and they had all these cool specials. And I remember knocking on doors and going to an account. I had to deliver phones or something like that, and I got to the account 15 minutes early, and I had a choice. I said, well, I could either, go in the lounge and sit down, look at a few magazines. I could go in my car and listen to the radio for a little bit and just chill out, or I could go knock on a few doors and be productive. And so, I go, well, I got 15 minutes. I got to knock on a few doors. So I put my bag in my car, just went to the field a little bit, knocked on a few doors in the business park, and the fourth or fifth door I get to, it's this little hole in the wall, little shop, but it was a satellite office of a larger, security company. And so I was talking to the representative there, and she was telling me they had 700 phones that they were all with AT&T at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, for me, quota at the time was just 40 lines. If you sold 40 phones, you were good for the whole month, And I was at a potential 700 line deal in one call, just like that. And I remember thinking, man, thank God that I, knocked on a few doors and didn't just lounge around in the office or listen to the radio in my car. And I was like, this is a good decision here. So I took notes at that meeting. It led to a meeting with the director of IT at corporate headquarters. And just meeting after meeting, we finally closed the deal. And it was just an amazing thing. I had, 700 phones under my belt, was rep of the quarter. I got all these accolades in the company. Of course, a good cash payout for commissions and all that good stuff. And it was just an amazing thing.
Wow. Hey, James, didn't we do this one already?
Oh, no, I don't think so. This is something I did on my video, though.
That's why it's familiar. I was like,
yeah,
I've heard this story before.
yeah, it's on one of the videos that I've done before for YouTube or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's what I was like. I've heard this, and I love this story because it's amazing how you can take any any time of the day, doesn't matter what you're doing, and then what you can do is seize that moment and make an opportunity happen. And the worst thing that can happen is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that story because you were in a situation where at that time you're in a waiting room. What you're supposed to be doing at like the office is wait. And you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go next door and like try to make something happen. And it did. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where it's not wrong to go into the lobby and just relax and watch, look at a few magazines. Or it's not wrong to go in your car and listen to the radio. But the integrity part of it was, what's the better thing to do? You got a few extra minutes. You're at a meeting early or whatever. Knock on a few doors, make a few extra phone calls, and see what happens. And I can't tell you, there's been other times too where I just made a few extra phone calls. Like I say, it's 5 o'clock, everyone's checking out, and I'll stay in the office just a little while longer, make a few more dials, and all of a sudden you get that one call you've been waiting for. And just putting that extra effort in, which I call integrity. It's kind of like just doing the right thing, and you land a big fish sometimes.
Yeah, totally. That goes along with marketing a bit too. There's some things in marketing that, if explained certain ways, it could definitely come off as like, is that legal? Is that right? And the one thing I'm trying to allude to is ethical bribes,
Mm-hmm.
which are like a high value offer, which means for something little as a person's name, email, or phone number, or whatever it might be, right? Really, it kind of just, you can apply it to a lot of different things. And what you give them in return is some sort of high value offer, or not offer, but high value something. And that just is like an ethical bribe, because you're actually giving them something of value that they could use, and it's totally free, but it's in exchange for something. So that's sort of similar too. And that could be taken advantage of if someone decides to be that way, right? So someone could just say, get this amazing thing, and then really it's not anything at all. It doesn't bring any sort of value to anyone. And then the person who put their information in felt a little ripped off, perhaps. So there's also sort of like an ethical responsibility when you do certain marketing strategies for information swapping or whatever it might be. So it's very similar as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. So it's like, someone's saying they'll give you a free, TV if you fill out this information, or a free, barbecue or whatever if you fill out this information. So it's like you're giving information for exchange for this nice product or service, and that's kind of the ethical bribe, right?
Exactly. So how it would work is, if in the situation you were in, let's just use this as an example, and I don't know if this really happened or not, but if you went to go visit that person, and he or she was like, yeah, I'd like to get 700 lines. And you go, okay, well, let me get your name, number, email. Here, take this information. It basically shows you how it walks through the process. It'll show you how, getting lines with AT&T or Verizon or whatever will help your business massively. And she goes, okay, great. Here's my name, number. And then you give him or her that information. That's similar to like an ethical bribe. You're giving value, and she's giving you something in return, or he's giving you something in return. It's very similar to that. Does that make more sense? James?
All right. I hit a rough patch over there. I couldn't hear for a little bit.
Looks like we're losing
Can
James
you
a
hear me
bit.
okay? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I'm just driving through a rough area here, so it's kind of difficult to hear a little bit. But I'm here right now.
Okay. Okay, got it. So I don't know how much you heard, but in a nutshell, I was basically explaining how an ethical bribe is similar to your situation, except it's offline. And so how that is portrayed is you go to a person who's interested in whatever you are speaking to them about, and they say, or you in this case, James says, okay, well, let me get your name, number, email, and then take this information. It's going to show you how this works. It's going to show how it can benefit you. There'll be some like suggestions. It'll help you with XYZ. And so that is similar to what we would do online with an ethical bribe. So it's valuable. It's the value's there, but you guys are swapping information. You see?
Right.
It's like a
Yeah.
virtual handshake.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of people are looking for something for giving out information. You know, they want to be compensated somehow. So it's like, yeah, I'll give you an email address if you give me a free month trial or whatever. It's kind of the way things work, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. The free trial for their information is also similar too. You're giving huge value for very simple request from them, which is give their information. And so but it's also an encounter thing, right? So when you swap information or you swap business cards or you do that sort of thing, that kind of you're tending to give them more value for their information, right? And keep that
Right.
relationship. When you do that, here's another interesting thing too. It doesn't mean they're ready to buy. So that situation was pretty fortunate because not only did you have someone interested, but they were in the right mindset. They were ready to purchase. They were ready to do something.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. No, they have to. You never know what kind of condition you're going to meet someone if they're ready to purchase, if they're shopping around. What you don't know what state of mind they're going to be in. So, I mean, you kind of always have to be prepared to persuade somebody if they're willing. If they're whether you're getting them early in the lead process or if they've already kind of shopped around a little bit and ready to purchase. We kind of always have to be willing to offer information to help somebody make a decision. And I mean, I used to hear that quote back in the day. It says, "Always be selling," or "Always be closing," ABCs and all that good stuff. And
Oh yeah.
there's some truth to that. It's like, I mean, we're not trying to always trying to be out there putting ourselves out. But I mean, as far as trying our best to convince people, because you never know, they might just say, "Wow, I was just, I was shopping around all week. I was just about to make a decision, and you caught me and you explained this to me. I totally appreciate it. Yeah, I want to buy from you. Whether it's a car or a house or whatever. I mean, what I mean? Real estate agents are out there. I mean, what if you were that one that just explained that part about the appraisal process that no one else did, and so all of a sudden somebody wants to do business with you. And we have to always, in some senses, it's true, always be closing.
Yeah. Yeah. Always be closing. Right. Um, First impressions, I guess is what like everyone's parents said. First impressions, but it's pretty hard to forget an experience when you deal with someone. You're gonna utilize your services or product or whatever, but you deal with someone who seems to just give you what you're looking for. And that might not necessarily mean it's the service or product, but it's more of the initial communication,
Right.
sort of the customer service side of things before you really jump into a sale. More of that qualifying call type environment.
Right. Right. And even in that, we have to be ethical in some sense in terms of having integrity, because that's their first interaction with the company, and if they feel like they're being cheated or lied to, well, that's going to stop their sales process right there. That we
Yeah,
have to have some level of integrity, showing them that we are telling the truth, we are representing our brand well, and all those good things that people want to see in a product, right?
exactly. Exactly. Um, a lot of times it's just you need to get people in your ecosystem. You know, what's the simplest way to do that? Well, sometimes people say, well, it's offering something for free. Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of things you can offer for free, but really it's more of like, what kind of value can we offer and actually feel like in general, if someone reads this or looks at it or follows it, they could actually make progress on depending on what they're doing. Obviously, it depends, but and if you can do that and start off with a good foot forward and then get them in your ecosystem, that's a huge win because now you have people who have that perception built up, a certain experience they have with you. So like James, your first impressions kind of determine how or what they think or know about your company moving forward.
Right.
There was a
Yeah.
client there's a client we're both working on right now that had that sort of confusion at first. There was someone who thought on this team we were working with, she thought we were just advertising, right? Which basically meant we put things up on billboards or make flyers, and it's just get the word out.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole trip, we went on this business trip with them. She's like, "Man, I can't wait to see you guys in action." And I was thinking, wait, what? I was in my head. I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, put my cape on, pull out my magic marketing bag. Like, what is she, what is she expecting? I don't really understand, because the whole
Right. Right.
point of the
Right.
trip was information gathering and understanding and experience
Yeah.
what's happening, which can be very helpful,
Uh-huh.
extremely helpful, actually. But she kept saying that. I can't wait to see you perform. Like, for, I don't know, and do what? I'm not totally sure. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until we were flying back when we were having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was actually, the conversation was pretty funny. It started off, we actually were talking about um, how she was trying to convince me that every state really dislikes Californians. I,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if how true that is. I don't feel that. But anyways, it then transitioned into this advertising thing, to which I said, yeah, we're just going to work to fill the rooms. And it just, all of a sudden she had like a moment. She's like, oh, you're going to fill the rooms? Like, yeah, we're going to put systems in place for marketing purposes, but we also have systems that can actually get people in our ecosystem so we can put them into our sales process and basically turn them into a resident or turn them into a client.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, I thought you were just going to put like photos up and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's true. There's
Right.
different.
So she's
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
I get it now. I said, yeah, because you kept saying, can't wait to see you perform. And she's like, yeah, because I thought you were going to like draw things or something.
Uh-huh.
So her perception of what we did was
Right.
completely off.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. I mean, it just everyone has their ideas of people. Like, I don't know how that happens. It's not so much like gossip that starts that, but it's more just like a misunderstanding. I remember like this is kind of related to. It's kind of funny too. Like when I was in high school, I moved to Orange County. I was in Long Beach before that, and I grew up in Long Beach in grade school, junior high, and then like high school came around. My family moved to Orange County, and so I was going to this brand new school with brand new people, and in the OC, and so like back then, like I was a big surfer. I was into surfing and skateboarding, and I used to have all my clothes like from like Billabong, Rip Curl, and Quicksilver, like all the right surf clothes I used to wear. But then like I
Wow.
wasn't that good. I wasn't that good of a surfer though. I just did it for fun. I wasn't like totally aggressive. I just did it to enjoy myself. So I mean I knew how to surf, but I wasn't like a competition style. But because of my clothes, and I always had a really nice tan, like everyone on campus thought I was this major surf guy. And so like they were starting a surfing club for the first time on campus, and they all asked me, hey, can you join the surf club, you want to be a part? I'm like, sure, yeah, why not, I like surfing. And They're like, yeah, we heard so many cool things about you. And I'm like what?
No way.
Like I never talked about my surfing life. I was brand new to the school, and like, how could they even know about me? And I was like, what'd you hear?
No,
And
dude,
everyone
these
had this
are
picture that I was this like shredder. I was this awesome, like, like up and coming surfer in the area and all this stuff. And I'm like, hey guys, I just like to surf. I like cool clothes. That's about it.
no way.
Yeah. And so this
They,
all of a sudden there's just it was just this so yeah, so you never know what people are. Was that what I don't know if it was a gossip thing that started it, or I have no idea. But then now you're kind of like, wait, like, so am I supposed to live up to this name now, or what am I supposed to do? It was really awkward. It was like I was all insecure. I was like, I'm not that good of a surfer. Don't watch me.
yeah,
But
exactly. Like your company is just like your appearance and personality, right? Uh, It's so funny that's hysterical. I didn't know you were a surfer like that. Wow.
yeah, that was back in
But
the day. But it's just goes to show that that's what people do. They kind of sometimes they'll just like come up with stories, and I don't know. I mean, it's just the way things are. I mean, I'm not sure that it's in a negative way. It's just people don't know what they don't know. And they'll just
But
talk on what
yeah,
they do
that's
know.
what I mean though. Like so okay, probably a great example is like you see someone with, huge earplugs, like the big circles in their ears, and they're tatted up. They dress pretty edgy, and if you don't know the person, it's so hard not to like basically be human. It's not like it's wrong. It's just you're just being. It's just a human being a person, right? You can't help it. So you might go, "Wow, that's pretty edgy. It looks like a mean person," or might. I wonder if whatever it might be. You get these assumptions because of what a person looks like, and so that's comparable to like a business in a way. And sometimes businesses are trying to portray themselves as like a clean cut type of thing, but they actually come off as pretty edgy and maybe unapproachable at first. But then you get to
Yeah.
know them and you go, oh, I really like this edgy feel, right? Um,
Hmm.
or they might have the wrong ideology. So the edgy guy might be thinking, yeah, we're trying to be all clean cut. This is what we're doing. But um, you don't get that from the appearance, right? So it's
Hmm.
very similar to like your branding of a business and that sort of thing. And it's also sort of like an ethical standpoint in a certain sense that um, it builds a lot of trust when you kind of have an outside perspective, which is communicated and produced correctly. And then when they come in your ecosystem, it kind of just flows and transitions well. And they go, oh, yeah, this is kind of what I
Yeah.
expected it to be. Builds
Right.
a lot of trust too. Um, but yeah, a lot of companies have sort of the wrong. They definitely have a lack of appearance for people to have the right ideology. And the most simple form of that is website design.
Hmm. Hmm.
Most simple form, I believe.
Yeah, your external branding, it represents you. It's your online brochure, so to speak. And a lot of people nowadays, I think, are really showing their personalities through their websites, and it's taking on another level of presence and marketing, because in the old days it was just a glass or just an online brochure of things where they just list your contact information, a little bit about us, and maybe a few photos, a picture of the team, key members, and things like that. But nowadays it's just there's so many more things going on, and people are starting to show their personalities more, and I kind of like that. I think that when you deal with a company, you are dealing with a group of people, and a lot of times these people are very like-minded. Like I'm with T-Mobile right now for my cell phone, and I was with Verizon Wireless before, and I know Verizon has a really good network and probably even better than T-Mobile's. But like I just like T-Mobile. I like the culture. I like the people. I like the vibe I get when I deal with customer service or the salespeople,
Right.
and just the little things they have, like, just the whole the phone screening system they have where they say scam likely on there when it's like, a sales call or something like that you don't want to take. And it's like, I gotta get out of the way. 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah. So, they just know people, and they have a very good, friendly customer service way of doing things. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I hear you. I I think I think no, that's pretty honest too. Like, people will like a company because of how it looks, right? I think T-Mobile, in my opinion, has the best branding.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. I love T-Mobile branding. Now that's just my personal opinion. The reason why I like it so much is because I really like bright colors, especially like pink. And they just like every time you see a T-Mobile commercial, it's pink and T-Mobile and super bubbly and stuff. So like I sometimes like companies just because of how I click with them, not really any sort of means of I'm a customer or had a good experience. I just like how it looks, and the vibe of it. And so people
Right.
do that, like, right, Verizon might have a better network, but you just like T-Mobile. That's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah. So it's like there's got to be, in some senses, like, I think they do. People that or companies that do things like that really well are the ones that try to have consistency. They try to put some thought into all their marketing, and remain consistent. So the message is consistent to the public. And so anytime somebody interacts with them, they know what they're going to get. I know I'm going to get a friendly salesperson. I know the customer service rep's going to be real, down to earth and friendly. And so it's like you expect it and you get. And so sometimes I think that I'm trying to work in the word integrity, but like, you know,
Oh, James, you're kind of breaking up a bit.
Oh, okay. Here, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
better.
All right. So, like, I'm trying to work in the word integrity again, but like, in some ways, if you're a company that has a consistent brand, a consistent message, it takes a lot of hard work to get there. Don't just Nike and just do it. Like, not, how does the whole world know that? I mean, it took a lot of work and effort on Nike's part just to make that possible. And so, like, how do major brands have such good messaging? I mean, and how do they communicate so well? And I think there is a certain level of integrity where they stick to it. They stick to their game plan and they don't deviate from it. And after enough time passes by, that whatever they do, it just rings truer and truer every day. And people are more akin to, like, interact with those brands because they really believe in it. They believe in the messaging and what they stand for. So
Right.
um, yeah. So in that sense, integrity has the ability to draw people, to commit to their brand.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Um, marketing and sales. I mean, sales is a little more specific, but marketing does not have to make sense. And you know what? Part of sales as well. I'm gonna retract what I said. Part of sales doesn't make sense either because sometimes, you know, I really believe if let's just say you're horrible at sales, any salesperson looks at you and they're like, wow, this person's pretty bad. We really got to work on his or her skills. And if that person just called enough people with the lack of skills, they still would close someone. They would close. It's bound to happen. They will find someone. They will close them. It's just going to happen. And that's kind of the thing that doesn't make sense too. So it's kind of interesting how, in a way, You can think more of skills close the gap between nothing happening and something happening, right? So if you have a lack of skills, something will happen, but at a lower rate, right? If you get more skills, something will happen more frequently. But it also depends on the effort you put in too. That's kind of the other portion of it as well. But it doesn't have to make sense. You know, people are just going to love T-Mobile. Like, I just like how it looks. And they might, I'm not saying T-Mobile has horrible customer service. You said they have amazing customer service. But let's just say they did have horrible customer service, right? There's some people, maybe yourself, James, that would still like T-Mobile, you know? And it doesn't have to make sense, really. It's just, I prefer T-Mobile. I prefer that company.
Yeah.
Like, I really like this beverage company, but I don't drink their drinks. Like, I really like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. I mean, like, it's. I bet you a part of it is like, I mean, yeah, some of it could be subliminal. You hear things enough times, and you start to, understand and believe it, maybe, or, if someone tells you that the Ritz-Carlton is the best hotel in the world, and they say that over and over again, you're like, maybe it is the best hotel. Maybe I need to stay there one time and try it out. Or you just Krispy Kreme is the best donut. It's like, oh really? And then you go try it. That's a pretty good donut. It's like, and then you start to believe it. I think like what people need to know and understand is like kind of like truth. Like when people, if a company were to just outright lie to you, that would totally rub the wrong way. But if they just tell you, yeah, this is what you pay, this is what you get, and this is what it's worth, and then you do that, and you get this, and you get that feel that it just worked out just the way they said. Then you feel like, no, I like this guy, this company, I like this brand, and then you start to like, just go back for more. I think that's something that people can resonate with a lot, is just like true value, truth, and just like people who are truth tellers. It's okay to dress it up a little bit in like sales, like in a marketing sense or an advertising sense, and dress it up from like, making it look colorful or whatever. But but when it comes down to the brass tacks and the facts, like, let's talk about it in a way that's true. And if I think everybody resonates with truth. It's like, nobody wants to be lied to. Nobody wants to pay more than what it's really worth. They want to kind of get what they're paying for. And so I think if brands were just more integrous that way, and just, were truth tellers, not trying to hide things or whatever, they would be a lot more successful. And so I don't know. I mean, I think most big companies, I don't know, most big companies, I do see a lot of integrity, and that's why they succeed, and they're still around. I don't know. Can you think of anyone out there that you'd be leery of, or kind of wondering if they're trying to just do like the bait and switch or something like that?
no, I mean, I'm not sure. For me, I'm thinking more of the sales reps that like get really pissed off and scream at people, or maybe even customer service reps getting fed up. I mean, there are some jobs that could be stressful and pretty obnoxious at times, with, dealing with people. Basically, people are calling you because there's something that we need to fix. So that can be pretty intense sometimes. So I don't know if we can eradicate that. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's someone's going to find that. But there's definitely areas that it's hard to determine really, to answer that question for me, because I'm thinking of just, there's so many companies that are successful on what they do. There's companies that only hard close. Like, they don't do this sort of touchy-feely stuff that you and I talk more so about. Just like, no, just get them on the phone, make it happen, close the deal. We need to get reported on, And so that's the main thing they focus on. But On the flip side, there's also people who take sales a little differently, a little more subtly. So, I'm not sure. It's kind of just like what works for you, works for you. Maybe it doesn't work for someone else. And then everyone also finds their own little specialized version that's unique to them and their business as well. I think really it's more of a lot of companies are relying on referrals. A lot of them say, yeah, our business is where it's at today and growing or not based on the referrals primarily. And so that's kind of scary
Yeah.
too, because referrals are pretty awesome, but you don't control referrals. And so your success is based on if someone decides to send that contact to your company or not, versus
Yeah.
taking things in your own hand and creating your own opportunity that you can at least measure and you can produce consistently. So it's unique. I think it's just a lot of different moving factors, and everyone kind of finds their own little area of how they do it. So I'm not totally sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it is like you said, like a personality thing, because some people they'll just purchase because maybe their family does it or their friends do it, and so they just want to get a similar product or brand. So it's more off of peer pressure. Some people shop surely on price. Who's the lowest price leader out there, and they won't really care as much about quality or brand recognition. And then some people will shop strictly on brand names and not worry about price or anything else. And so there's those people, there's people like that, and then there's people that just want to get like the best, the best deal and work with the best company, and these are the people that I would say comprise a majority of the market out there. And these are the people that are just honest people trying to find a good deal and work with a good brand.
Right.
And and then the brand that speaks kind of clearest and most like accurately and do that truth telling, I think they're going to resonate with those people a lot more. And
Yeah.
you know yeah, so like I was dealing with like internet issues. And so I was, shopping at Costco, and then DirecTV approaches me and tells me that, well, if you have Spectrum right now, they're lying to you. You're not really getting 100 megabit download speed. It's a lot lower than that. And so, you're paying all this money, and you're not really getting the speed that you need. And so I go, oh my gosh, I'm being lied to, and so, I switched over to DirecTV, and then I don't know. I felt like, well, why did I do that? Maybe they're lying to me. So it's like, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, see,
Yeah.
there's just, sometimes it's you're kind of going off of all these things that you don't know, you do know, you're not sure you really know, but you make the best decisions based on what you know. But yeah, if someone's outright lying to you and they're a professional company trying to get business, well, what does that mean about everything else they're trying to tell you, And maybe they're doing other things that are, not so legal or whatnot. And so, I guess, all that to say, in some senses with companies, you can't judge the book by its cover. If they're being deceptive in some ways, then it kind of goes deeper into the pages when you look at it closer. That there's a lot more out there that shouldn't be believed. And yeah, the right way. And even if I have to pay a little bit more just to get a better product and a better service behind it, I think people are willing to do that too. People are willing to pay for quality.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty funny. And so last thing I want to mention before we go is uh, there's so many different factors. It's an endless ocean of factors and scenarios. So like how I chose my car. I mean, I switched eventually, but how I chose my car insurance when I was given the responsibility to pay for my own car insurance, I Uh, I just went with whatever my parents had. I didn't until you are responsible for something, you don't really know how to do it, like taxes, or like health insurance or whatever. So it wasn't until like, yeah, you got to pay for your own car insurance. I'm like, okay, or maybe I decided to. I don't remember the situation. It just was like, I'm not going to shop around. I just go, hey, mom, dad, what do you have? And they go, oh, we have State Farm or whatever. Like, okay, sign me up. And then I call and then we just do it. So, that's one situation. I wasn't even thinking. Not that State Farm's bad. I just mean like I wasn't thinking about anything. I just like, I need car insurance. What do you have? And they're like, we have this. Okay, I trust it too. And then I just bought it. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
the reason why people do it too. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that was one of the categories. I was saying like friends or family. It's like, it's so yeah, family member. Yeah, I'm good. They have it, I'll have it. So it's like, so it could just be based off of family or friends or a good piece of advice you got from somebody. But yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if it's someone you love and you trust and they recommend something, like yeah, that's a good reason to get it. But then yeah, I mean, obviously you'll learn along the way if it's like the exact thing for you or the best thing for you. And then you might notice, well, I like AAA because they do this a little bit better, or I'll switch to this company, or who knows, I mean, but I think that's the fun thing about just looking at different brands and shopping around and making choices and choosing the best things that are out there for us. And it's like, we definitely have a lot of choices out there. I mean, if anything, we have more choices in the U.S. than anywhere else in the world, probably, when it comes to anything, whether it's car insurance or a cell phone provider or even houses or whatever, cars. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just so
Yeah.
many choices. And so, but I don't know, I'm going back to this ethical thing because ultimately, like, yeah, you want to deal with a company that's ethical. You want to deal with a company that has integrity. You want to deal with people that have integrity because you just want to make sure that you're being treated the right way. And
Yeah.
I guess yeah, I mean, they have those market studies where, like, I don't know if you've been a part of one of those like groups where they'll have you come in and do a pre-launch marketing thing. They'll, like, when I went to one of those, it was like, let's test the quality of the water. Compare this water with that water. Tell me what you thought. What were the differences, similarities? Which one do you like better? And so all these surveys you fill out and this whole market research thing before it goes to launch. I mean, I love that because, people are spending good money to make sure that their marketing is done right, and their product is being researched and developed correctly, and they're doing the hard work to make that foundation solid. So yeah, I mean, companies that put time and energy into stuff like that, yeah, and just not going for a quick fix or whatever.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Absolutely. Wow. Good conversation.
Yeah, it's funny because like it's kind of speaking to me actually as we're talking because how we have free birthday zone going, and I'm wondering, did I do my best to like put my best foot forward as far as like doing the R&D, doing the testing of the market, and all these things that needs to be done with with new brands coming out. Like, yeah, I feel like in some ways I kind of went to market too quickly, and I don't know because it was such an exciting thing, and I got really excited about it. So I just want to get it out there as fast as possible. But I'm wondering if I did my best to like really, you know, um, I don't know. I guess put it to the test before putting it out there.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind about this. So you'll you can prepare, and that's cool. You'll spend a lot of time preparing. And then what you'll still find is when you launch it and put it out there after all the market research, you go, yep, we have about this many people, our market's this and that, and you put it out there, it's going to potentially do the exact opposite that you thought it would do.
Mm.
You don't ever really know until you put it out there, right? That's why that's why a lot of investors sometimes don't care about speculation, right? They don't care like how big the industry is, right? They don't necessarily care like, what's your plan? What's your 5-year plan? What's your projections? What's this? They just want to know like, okay, great. Now tell me the numbers. Like what sales? Because the sales and the production and all that is really going to show if this is a valid idea or not. And a lot of valid ideas die too early because what people thought or planned out didn't work out work instantly out of the gates, and they didn't want to pursue it for the long term. So, again, planning is great. You come up with strategies. We're going to initiate it. We're going to do this. Here's the next step. Here's our plans. Awesome. But, we always have to know that we don't know what's really going to happen until we put it out there. So you're getting the best market research, putting your product out there. And you're getting amazing feedback. So I don't know. It seems like a pretty good success to me so far.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anybody that knows the metrics on timing though? Because I think like maybe because I've what am I trying to say? It's like you do something, you work hard at something, and then you expect things to work out right away. It's like not that I'm looking for immediate gratification. That's not my point. But like, you just think that like, oh, this is just going to hit and it's just going to take off and it's just going to be like amazing, like in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But then when you see the days, the weeks, the months pass, you're like, wait a minute, it's taking longer than I expected, and I don't know, does anybody really have a good handle on the timing of things like that?
Well, here's another thing too. I mean, that's a yes and no question, because there are people that start businesses and right out the gate, they're like, we made $4 million in the first 30 days. That stuff happens all the time. Also, what happens is long periods of nothing. And then one day it blows up and they get 4 million in a month, but it took 3 years to get there. And then sometimes it just happens where, they do pretty well out the gate, or maybe it takes a few months, but then over time they see incremental increases, maybe some decreases, but over time it's grown. So there's a lot of different life cycles or life trajectories that happen, so things might be slow, but if it's a good idea and we keep pushing, we could get it to where maybe it blows up and people see it and like it, and then they start taking over a bit. So
Gotcha.
We just got to keep cranking forward, basically.
Yeah, I hear you, Daniel. Thanks. It's really encouraging, man. I appreciate that. And honestly, I think for me, like the thing is to be integrous all the way through too, because like if I get impatient, or if anybody out there listening to this, if you ever get like I'm getting impatient, or I want to just move this thing a little bit faster, well, we could also compromise our integrity. We might make some bad decisions, and our judgment might be a little off, and just to push things faster and faster, and so yeah, that's a really good point, because as long as we're aware that things do take a while, we'll maintain our integrity, we'll maintain our peace, and we'll execute in a way that will always have the customer in mind and always have other people in mind, because in the end we have confidence that it will work out. And even given more time, it's okay to let more time pass, and just but never lose that value system that we have to be integrous all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, good conversation, James. That was really fun.
Yeah, Daniel, good stuff, man. Is there anything else as far as final thoughts on this whole idea of marketing and sales and integrity? Looking at what we do to interact with companies and things like that. Anything else in your thoughts there?
No, I feel like I flushed a lot of that information out.
Yeah, good stuff, Daniel. Well, honestly, it was kind of cool for me today. I think I had a chance to really hear from you that, yeah, it's okay to be, engaging in business and not getting results right away sometimes. It, obviously, there's highs and lows, there's peaks and valleys, and sometimes we're on a peak, or sometimes we're in a valley, and but valleys aren't necessarily a bad thing either, and sometimes it means we just sharpen our swords and get a little bit better, and
Right.
then get back out there again. So yeah, I mean, if anyone out there is discouraged at all, or you feel like you're in a lull, just know that there's R&D, and that happens during those quiet times. And if you're looking to do something innovative or new, well, just look around and see what else people are doing out there, and really try to refine what you do to be a little bit different, and to do things to impact the market a little bit differently than what everyone else is doing, because that takes a lot of time and energy to think through those things. And you'll find your niche, you'll find your value add, you'll find out the areas where you're distinct. I call them distinctives from other companies, and you'll go for it, and you'll see that you have a certain niche audience that's going to respond to you. So that was a big mouthful on my end there. I wasn't expecting to say all that, but I just feel like there's a few people out there who can really be encouraged to keep doing what you're doing, and don't lose heart.
Yeah, exactly. All right, James, that was good. That was real good. Until next week, we're going to launch this podcast today, which is a Monday, by the way. And
Oh, we are? Okay.
Yeah, and then hopefully we'll launch another one Friday or Saturday.
All right, friends, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us today at Peppers and Flowers. We look forward to joining you again next Saturday, or whenever we do. Daniel and James signing off.